left, and you would notice that you have now you could use, or you could draw outside of that selection, so there's no more selection. But I actually tried to go back and rework mine, and you notice that I didn't have my selection anymore, and now I have some marks outside of my circle. Well, what you can do is really cool. You can actually put this layer, these brush strokes, inside this shape, inside this circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my pixel layer, which right now is highlighted, and then over here next to the eyeball, right below it in the layer palette, there is this square with an arrow facing down, and when I click on that, watch, you'll notice here in the layer palette, now I have this layer with an arrow facing down, and it puts this drawing inside that shape, so inside that circle. So that's one way where you can actually, if you didn't have that selection tool, you drew outside that circle, you could always put that layer inside another layer. It's called a clipping mask. So feel free to do that if you had the same mistake that I did. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to work on the background now. So with the background, I'm actually going to create a new layer. Okay, and I'm just going to take that shape tool again, mine's way up here, my ellipse, and I'm going to recreate this shadow with my tool to fill it in, something like that. Now, if I filled it in, you'll notice that it would be on top of my circle, but that's okay because we can, with the layer palette, put it below our circle or ball. So I'm going to pick a color. I'm going to choose a cool color, so I'm going to use like a blue, change the opacity up, and maybe make it a little bit darker, blue, and hit fill. I'm going to use vector, and you notice again, now we have this circle above our ball here, but if I grab this layer and bring it all the way below, now my circle, or now my ellipse is actually below my ball, or behind my ball. I'm going to click the selection tool, so I select that again, and you'll notice that in the example on the left, that illustration, closer to the ball, we're going to have a darker color. So I'm going to, because this shadow is just going to be intensified, so I'm going to just grab a maybe darker blue, and since it's selected here with my pixel brush, undo that. I'm going to go to this layer, making sure I'm in the right, oh, I know what I have to do. So I'm going to actually create a new layer. I could work on that layer, and you could see I could create a darker color. I'm going to bring it up a little bit. So obviously anything that's closer to the ball, it's going to be a little bit darker. As I go further away, I can have a lighter shadow. Maybe I don't really want to do that. I don't like how that's turning out. So I have something going like that. Okay, and then what we can do is you can let's go click on the more and hit invert. Oops. Done. Click on the more and hit invert selection. Okay, and you notice if I start painting, maybe I'll do like a brown color. Like a brown purple. I could start painting. It's going to paint on the outside of my selection of my dancing ants. Okay, so I can go with a table color. I could add maybe a color for the walls. You can see now I could create the background for my sphere. And then when I'm done, I can hit deselect, and you can see now I have really a more of a three-dimensional design here, just using some of the tools, brush tools and ellipse tool in Fresco.